Have you ever wondered why losing someone you thought was your forever feels like the end of the world? It's because your mind attaches identity, safety, and even meaning to that person. When they're gone, it feels like a part of you has been ripped away. That emptiness you feel inside is real and it's heavy, but it is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a deeper discovery, one that reveals who you truly are without leaning on anyone else to define you. Right now, you may be replaying every moment in your head, every word, every mistake, every silence. The pain convinces you that you will never find someone like them again, that maybe you lost your only chance at real love. But here's the truth, you didn't lose the one. What you lost was your idea of certainty, your illusion of permanence. Love is not about possession. It is not about clinging to one person and calling them the only possible answer to your happiness. Love is a reflection of the love you are willing to hold within yourself. Your heart aches because it invested deeply, and that proves something important. You are capable of giving love fully. That is not weakness, it is power. Too many people live with walls so high they never experience that depth. You did, and though it hurts, it shows that your heart is alive, capable, and ready to grow stronger. The end of one relationship does not mean the end of love itself. It means your capacity for love has expanded. And with expansion comes the opportunity for greater connection, if you are willing to believe in it again. Think about this. Why would life take something away from you if it did not have something greater waiting for you? Every closed chapter creates the space for a new one. But if you hold on to the past, if you keep telling yourself that you lost the only one who mattered, you will blind yourself to the opportunities right in front of you. The human mind clings to what feels safe, even when that safety no longer exists. Real growth begins the moment you let go of what was and open yourself to what can be. Pain has a way of making us stronger if we let it. The heartbreak you feel now is not proof of your weakness, it is proof of your humanity. It is the sign that you cared, that you risked, that you loved. And the very same courage it took to love before is the same courage that will guide you into something more meaningful in the future. Do not make the mistake of believing that your best days are behind you. They are not. They are being shaped right now, in this very moment, through the strength you are building inside yourself. Stay with this message until the very end, because the reward of walking through heartbreak is not just healing, it is transformation. By the time you reach the end of this journey, you will not only see the loss differently, you will feel differently about yourself. And when you change the way you see yourself, the entire direction of your life shifts. What feels like an ending is secretly the preparation for your beginning. The pain you carry now will become the fuel that carries you toward a life and love greater than what you thought you lost. The moment you believe you have lost the only person meant for you, you hand over your power to despair. But the truth is, no single person defines your worth, your destiny, or your future. What defines you is how you rise when the world feels heavy, how you choose to see yourself when your heart feels empty. This is where your strength is tested, not in comfort, not in certainty, but in loss. In that test lies the chance to uncover a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, and more alive than ever before. Think carefully about what this pain is teaching you. Behind every heartbreak is a mirror. That mirror shows you not only what you gave to someone else, but also what you still owe yourself. The loyalty, the patience, the affection you poured outward. Those are qualities you must now direct inward. When you stop chasing after someone who is no longer walking beside you, you begin the journey of returning to yourself. That return is where freedom is born. You may believe that your love was wasted, but love is never wasted. Every ounce of energy you gave was proof of your courage to care. That energy does not disappear, it transforms. It becomes the strength that teaches you boundaries. It becomes the wisdom that shapes how you choose in the future. It becomes the light that reminds you that you deserve reciprocity, respect, and someone who chooses you with the same intensity you once gave away. This shift from mourning what you lost to valuing what you gained is the beginning of healing. Do not allow nostalgia to trick you into thinking the past was perfect. When you hold someone in memory, you remember the highlights, the beauty, the comfort, but you forget the cracks, the doubts, the moments where love was not enough to hold it together. Be honest with yourself. If it was truly meant to last, it would have lasted. What ended did so because it no longer aligned with the person you are becoming. Trust that. Trust that life is not cruel. It is corrective. It removes what no longer serves you so that you can be free to receive what will. Every great transformation in life begins with letting go. Letting go is not weakness, it is strength. It is an act of faith in yourself and in the path ahead. It is choosing not to chain your heart to someone who has already moved on. It is refusing to shrink into the shadows of loss and instead stepping into the light of possibility. By letting go, you give yourself permission to grow, to evolve, and to meet a future you could never reach if you stayed stuck in the past. And here is the promise you must hold on to. The pain you feel now will not last forever. It will soften, it will change, and it will eventually become the very proof of how far you've come. What seems unbearable today will one day be the story of your resilience, the evidence of your strength, and the foundation of the confidence that will carry you forward. Hold on, because what is ahead of you is greater than what lies behind. This is not the end. It is the invitation to rise. What if this heartbreak is not a punishment, but a wake-up call? A call for you to rise beyond the limits you once accepted, to discover that your life has a purpose bigger than any single relationship. When the heart breaks, it exposes the deepest truths we often hide from ourselves. It reveals the parts of us that need healing, the wounds we tried to cover by leaning on another person. And now, in this silence, you are given the chance to face those wounds and finally transform them into strength. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt. The pain you feel is the friction of growth, the stretching of a soul learning to stand taller than it ever has before. It may hurt, but it is not here to destroy you. It is here to shape you into someone who no longer doubts their worth, someone who no longer settles for half-hearted love, someone who no longer fears being alone. Being alone is not emptiness. It is the canvas on which you begin to paint a new vision of your life. Ask yourself this: why give so much power to someone who walked away when you have the power to rise in ways they could never imagine? The most powerful thing you can do is redirect that energy inward. Build yourself, strengthen your body, sharpen your mind, elevate your spirit. Every time you choose growth over grief, you reclaim the power you thought was lost. You stop waiting for someone else to complete you because you realize you were never incomplete in the first place. The world has tried to convince you that love is about finding the perfect person, but real love begins with finding yourself. When you anchor into who you are, when you learn to stand solid in your own worth, the right relationships naturally align with you. Not because you are desperate for them, but because you are whole enough to attract what matches your strength. And when that happens, you no longer cling out of fear, you choose out of abundance. Release the illusion that your life peaked in the past. It didn't. The love you lost was not the pinnacle, it was the stepping stone. You may feel like the best chapter has closed, but the best chapter has not even been written yet. And you are the one holding the pen. Every day you wake up, you have a choice: stay chained to the memory of what ended, or rise into the possibility of what's coming. One keeps you in sorrow, the other leads you to freedom. This pain is asking you one question: will you shrink or will you rise? If you shrink, you give the lost control over your life. If you rise, you reclaim your identity, your confidence, your future. The choice is yours. And the reward for choosing to rise is greater than you can imagine. One day you will look back and realize this moment was not the end of love. It was the beginning of your power. The strength you are searching for is already inside you, waiting for you to trust it. Heartbreak has a way of convincing you that you are powerless, that your happiness was tied to someone else, that your best days disappeared when they left. But that is a lie, born out of pain, not truth. The reality is this: your power was never in their hands. It has always been in yours. The power to decide how you will rise, how you will heal, how you will move forward, that belongs only to you. When you stop waiting for someone else to validate your worth, you begin to step into a freedom you may never have known before. Freedom from chasing approval, freedom from begging for love, freedom from shaping yourself into who you think someone else wants you to be. You do not need to shrink to be loved. You do not need to beg to be chosen. You do not need to hold on to someone who has already let go. Your value is not measured by who stays. It is measured by the fact that you are still standing, even when they walked away. Think about what this means for your future. If you can survive this heartbreak, if you can keep breathing through the nights that feel unbearable, then there is nothing life can throw at you that you cannot endure. That resilience becomes your unshakable foundation. Every challenge, every setback, every rejection becomes another layer of strength. And the person you become through that process is unbreakable. Not because pain never touched you, but because pain could not destroy you. You must understand that loss is not the enemy. Loss is a teacher. It teaches you what you deserve by showing you what you should never settle for again. It teaches you the importance of giving love without losing yourself in the process. It teaches you that the love you crave most is not from another person, but from within. When you learn to love yourself enough, you stop begging for crumbs of affection. You stop accepting half efforts. You stop believing that someone leaving means you were unworthy. You finally see that your worth was never up for debate. It is permanent, unshakable, undeniable. This is where transformation begins. Not when someone else comes to save you, not when the past magically returns, but when you decide that you are enough as you are. From that place of strength, you will attract relationships that honor you because you will no longer tolerate anything less. You will no longer confuse intensity with love. You will no longer cling to someone out of fear of being alone. You will choose from a place of power, not desperation. The person who left is not the end of your story. They were only a chapter. You are the author, and the story is far from over. Every tear, every sleepless night, every ache in your chest is fuel. Fuel for your growth, fuel for your courage, fuel for your rise. And when you rise, you will see the truth clearly. You never lost the one. You found the one who matters most. You. The most dangerous lie your mind will whisper in moments of heartbreak is that you are not enough. It will replay every mistake, magnify every flaw, and convince you that someone else's choice to leave is proof that you were never worthy in the first place. But those are distortions created by pain, not reflections of truth. The truth is, someone's inability to stay has nothing to do with your value. It has everything to do with where they are in their own journey. And if they could not see the depth of your worth, then their leaving is not your loss, it is your liberation. Every time you tie your self-esteem to the presence of another person, you hand over your freedom. You make your happiness dependent on conditions you cannot control. But freedom comes the moment you realize that no one has the authority to define you but you. When you claim that authority, you become unshakable. You no longer crumble when someone walks away. You no longer collapse under rejection. You recognize that your worth is constant, steady, and unchanging, no matter who enters or exits your life. Do not let your pain convince you that the future will mirror the past. The past is evidence only of where you've been, not where you're going. If you stay trapped in the memory of what ended, you'll keep recreating the same cycles. But if you use this loss as fuel, you break free. You rise into a future where you no longer cling out of fear, but choose out of strength. That is the difference between repeating heartbreak and transforming into someone who attracts love that is stable, healthy, and real. You must train your mind to focus on what this experience has revealed about you. It revealed that you can feel deeply. It revealed that you have the courage to risk. It revealed that even in pain, you continue to search for meaning, growth, and truth. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs of strength. They are proof that your heart is still alive. And as long as your heart beats with this depth, love will never be out of reach for you. Understand this, the person you thought you lost was never the only one who could give you love. Love is abundant. Love is infinite. Love is waiting for you in places you cannot yet see, through people you have not yet met, in moments you have not yet lived. To believe that your only chance at love has slipped away is to believe that life is cruel. But life is not cruel. It is calling you forward. It is teaching you, shaping you, and preparing you for a connection that will reflect your true worth, not diminish it. Hold on to that vision. Hold on to the belief that you are becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more deserving with every passing day. The pain is temporary, but the transformation it creates will last a lifetime. One day, you will no longer cry for what left, you will thank it, because it pushed you back to yourself, and in that return, you will find the love that never leaves. You have to stop confusing rejection with failure. Rejection is not the universe telling you that you are unworthy. It is the universe redirecting you to something better aligned with who you are becoming. Every closed door is protection, not punishment. Every ending is space being cleared for a beginning that will serve your growth, not your destruction. When you stop viewing loss as the end of your story and begin to see it as the redirection it truly is, you shift from despair into power. You move from victimhood into freedom. The human mind is wired to hold on. It craves certainty, even if that certainty is painful. That is why letting go feels so impossible. But what you hold on to out of fear will only keep you small. What you release in faith becomes the very thing that expands you. There is nothing more courageous than opening your hands and trusting that life will fill them again. Trust that you will not be left empty. Trust that love will return in a form greater than the one you thought you lost. Pain tries to convince you that you must go back, that you must cling to what is familiar. But healing is not about going backward. Healing is about stepping forward into the unknown with the belief that you will not only survive, but thrive. This is how resilience is built, not by avoiding pain, but by walking straight through it and discovering that you are far stronger than you ever imagined. Each step you take forward, no matter how small, is proof that pain does not control you. You control it. The real transformation happens when you stop waiting for someone else to make you whole and realize you already are. The emptiness you feel is not the absence of another person. It is the absence of your own self-connection. When you begin to return to yourself, when you begin to nurture your body, your mind, your spirit, you realize that you were never truly lost. You only forgot who you were. And in remembering, you awaken to a power that cannot be taken away, no matter who leaves. You are being shaped in this very moment into someone unrecognizable from the version of you that clung so tightly to what ended. That old version lived in fear of loss. This new version learns to stand tall in the face of it. That old version believed love was scarce and fragile. This new version understands that love is infinite and it flows through you first. When you embody that truth, you no longer settle, you no longer beg, you no longer chase. You attract, you magnetize, you choose. Every tear you've cried, every sleepless night, every moment you thought you couldn't go on has been carving strength into your soul. Do not let this suffering go to waste. Use it. Let it sharpen you. Let it expand you. Let it teach you that you are not defined by who left. You are defined by who you become because they left. And who you are becoming is stronger, wiser, and more powerful than you realize. There comes a moment when you must decide whether you will keep living as a prisoner of the past or step forward into the freedom of the present. Pain may whisper that holding on is safer, that if you cling tightly enough, maybe what was lost will somehow return. But deep down, you know that true healing begins only when you release the illusion of control. You cannot force someone to love you. You cannot rewrite choices that have already been made. What you can do is take back your power by no longer allowing what ended to define how you see yourself. This is not about forgetting. It is about transforming. Every memory, every feeling, every scar is now raw material. You can let it weigh you down, or you can let it fuel your growth. When you shift from asking, "Why did this happen to me?" to asking, "What is this preparing me for?" you unlock strength that was buried inside you all along. That shift changes everything. It turns heartbreak into awakening. It turns loss into expansion. It turns endings into beginnings. The more you feed pain with resistance, the longer it will stay. But the moment you accept it, the moment you allow yourself to feel it fully without drowning in it, it begins to loosen its grip. Acceptance is not weakness. It is mastery. It is the courage to face the truth without running from it. And once you face it, you realize something powerful. Pain does not own you. You are bigger than your heartbreak. You are greater than your loss. You are stronger than the storm inside you. Do not mistake this season of your life as a punishment. It is preparation. You are being prepared for a level of strength, a level of clarity, a level of self-love that you could not have reached without being broken open first. You are learning that your heart is not fragile glass, but resilient fire. Fire that purifies, fire that refines, fire that transforms everything it touches into something new. This fire within you is the very force that will rebuild your life. When you rise from this, you will carry something unshakable inside you. You will no longer confuse attention for love. You will no longer beg to be chosen. You will no longer see yourself as half of anything. You will know you are whole. And from that wholeness, you will create a life that reflects your true worth. A life where love is not taken from you, but shared with you. A life where loss no longer destroys you, but strengthens you. Hold on to this truth. What you feel right now is temporary, but the strength you are building through it will last forever. The pain will pass, the fear will fade, but the version of you who emerges on the other side will carry wisdom, courage, and power that cannot be taken away. This is not the chapter where your story ends. This is the chapter where you finally discover who you were always meant to be. The turning point arrives when you decide to stop waiting for closure from someone else and create it within yourself. Waiting for an apology, an explanation, or a change of heart only change you to what is already gone. Real closure does not come from another person. It comes from choosing to honor yourself enough to move forward without their permission. You close the chapter not because they made it right, but because you refuse to let what broke you continue to hold power over you. Every day you wake up, you are given a choice to keep reliving the same memories that wound you, or to plant new ones that heal you. The mind will try to drag you backward, but you are not required to follow. You are not obligated to keep replaying a story that hurts. You are not destined to stay in cycles of longing and regret. You can decide right now that your energy is too valuable to waste on someone who could not see it. That decision is freedom. It is in the moments when you feel most shattered that the foundation of your future is being built. Pain strips away illusions. It removes the masks. It forces you to confront what you truly deserve and what you will no longer tolerate. This clarity is a gift, even if it arrived wrapped in heartbreak. Because once you see your worth clearly, you can never unsee it. And once you know what you deserve, you cannot go back to accepting less. Understand that loneliness is not your enemy. It is your training ground. It is the space where you learn to sit with yourself, to love yourself, to rebuild yourself without distractions. The silence you fear is the silence that will strengthen you. Because in that silence, you hear the truth. You are not empty. You are evolving. You are not abandoned. You are being redirected. You are not lost. You are being found by yourself. There is a power in refusing to let pain define you. There is a freedom in standing tall even while your heart still aches. That defiance, that inner fire, is what transforms suffering into strength. It is what turns heartbreak into breakthrough. You are not here to live small, to shrink yourself, or to chase after what walked away. You are here to rise into a love and a life that reflects the magnitude of who you are becoming. So take a breath and release the weight of what has passed. Feel the strength that still exists beneath the hurt. Remind yourself that you are still here. And being here means you still have everything you need to rebuild, to grow, to love again. This ending is not the proof that you are unworthy. It is the proof that life is preparing you for more. And when you finally embrace that truth, nothing in this world can stop you from becoming everything you were always meant to be. The moment you stop chasing what left is the moment you begin to attract what is right. Desperation pushes love away, but self-respect pulls it closer. When you stand in your worth, when you embody the truth that you are already whole, you send out a different signal to the world. You no longer ask to be chosen, you choose. You no longer beg to be loved, you radiate love. And that energy becomes impossible to ignore, drawing into your life people and opportunities that mirror the strength you've built within. Heartbreak often tricks you into believing you need someone else to fill the void. But the void is not a lack of another person, it is a lack of your own presence. When you return to yourself fully, when you reclaim your energy and bring it back inward, the emptiness begins to dissolve. You start to feel alive again. You start to see that you were never missing anything except your own recognition of how powerful you already are. And once you see it, you cannot go back to the old version of you that begged for validation. The person you thought was the one may have been the catalyst for your awakening, but they were not the destination. They were only the mirror that revealed what you needed to heal, the trigger that set in motion the process of your growth. The true one is the person you are becoming, the version of you who no longer settles, no longer clings, no longer doubts their worth. That version of you is magnetic. That version of you is unstoppable. That version of you will not only attract love, but will create it everywhere they go. Pain has the power to either harden you or expand you. If you let it harden you, you close yourself off, you shut down, you carry bitterness that poisons every future connection. But if you let it expand you, you open, you rise, you evolve into someone who loves with even more depth, but with far greater wisdom. Expansion means you carry the lessons without carrying the scars. Expansion means you no longer see loss as a reason to fear love, but as the reason you are now strong enough to embrace it fully when it comes again. Every setback in life is secretly a setup. This heartbreak was not the collapse of your future. It was the foundation being rebuilt. Life does not take away what you need. It takes away what you've outgrown. You are not meant to shrink yourself to fit into someone else's story. You are meant to step fully into your own. That requires loss. That requires change. That requires the courage to walk through the fire without turning back. Look at yourself right now. You are still standing. You are breathing. You are capable of rising higher than you ever believed. That strength inside you is the real gift. And when you finally embrace it, you will see that losing what you thought was the one was never the end of your love story. It was the beginning of your transformation into the person you were always meant to be. The greatest shift happens when you stop asking why they left and start asking why you kept doubting your own worth. The real battle was never about them. It was about you recognizing the truth you kept burying under fear. You were always enough, but you didn't always believe it. And that disbelief made you hold on tighter than you should have, tolerate more than you deserved, and mistake attention for love. Now, with the pain exposed, you have the opportunity to rebuild your belief in yourself so deeply that no rejection, no abandonment, no loss will ever shake it again. When you see yourself clearly, you no longer settle for being half-loved. You no longer wait for someone else to prove that you matter. You walk into every space knowing that you carry value no one else can take away. That is where your freedom begins. That is where heartbreak loses its grip. Because when you love yourself fully, you stop fearing loss. You understand that anyone who walks away is only making space for someone who is capable of meeting you at the level you now stand. It is easy to confuse love with attachment. Attachment says, I need you to complete me. When love says, I am whole, and I choose to share that wholeness with you. Pretend what ended in your past was attachment disguised as destiny. What will come in your future, if you are willing to rise, will be love that cannot be shaken by fear, because it will be grounded in your own sense of wholeness. That is the kind of love that lasts. That is the kind of love you are now being prepared for. But before you can receive it, you must cleanse yourself of the lies heartbreak tried to plant inside you. Lies that say you are not enough. Lies that say you will never find love again. Lies that say you missed your only chance. These are not truths, they are wounds. And wounds can heal when you no longer feed them. Every time you remind yourself of your worth, you close them a little more. Every time you choose growth over despair, you seal them with strength. Every time you choose to believe that life still has more for you, you transform pain into power. Do not underestimate what is happening inside you right now. The fire you feel is not only pain, it is transformation. It is burning away the illusions, the dependence, the false beliefs. And when that fire settles, what will remain is your truest self, clear, strong, radiant, unshakable. That version of you will no longer chase. That version of you will no longer beg. That version of you will no longer mistake someone leaving as a reflection of your value. The one you thought you lost was never the one who defined your future. The only one who defines your future is you. Every choice you make now, every step you take toward your healing, is shaping a reality far greater than what you thought you had. The love you gave away so freely is not gone. It is returning to you multiplied because you are learning to give it to yourself first. And when you master that, you will never again fear losing the one, because you will know you already carry the greatest love within you. You are standing at the edge of a new life, but you cannot step into it if you keep dragging the weight of the past behind you. Holding on feels safe, but it is the very thing keeping you stuck. You cannot heal while clutching the very thing that broke you. You cannot rise while carrying what was never meant to stay. The freedom you crave is waiting on the other side of release, and that release begins with one decision: to stop fighting for what already let go of you. The truth is, you did not lose the one. You lost the illusion that someone else was the source of your completeness. That illusion was never love. It was attachment. Love expands you. It empowers you. It makes you more of who you are. Attachment drains you. It confines you. It makes you afraid of who you'd be without them. Now you see the difference. And seeing it is power, because once you know the difference, you can never go back to mistaking one for the other. This is the season where you learn to build yourself so solidly that your peace cannot be stolen. When you master this, you no longer fear being alone, because you realize you are never truly alone. You are whole within yourself. This is the foundation of unshakable confidence. This is the soil where the life you deserve begins to grow. You no longer need to chase, because what is aligned with your strength will come to you effortlessly. You no longer need to beg, because you finally know your worth is non-negotiable. Every moment you spend rising above your pain is rewiring your mind. You are training your brain to see possibility where it once only saw loss. You are teaching yourself to stand tall when every part of you wants to collapse. And every time you stand, you grow stronger. Every time you refuse to sink, you expand. That expansion builds momentum, and that momentum will carry you into a future brighter than the past you thought you needed. Do not confuse healing with forgetting. Healing is not erasing the past. It is reclaiming your power from it. The memories may remain, but they will no longer hold you hostage. The emotions may surface, but they will no longer control you. Healing means you can look back without breaking. It means you can honor what was without wishing it back. It means you can finally step forward without fear of what lies ahead. Remember this, your story did not end when they left. It began. You are being prepared for a love and a life so aligned with your true self that nothing about it will feel forced. It will not be built on fear, but on freedom. It will not be sustained by clinging, but by choosing. And it will not arrive through desperation, but through the unshakable energy of someone who finally knows they are enough. That someone is you. And as you rise into that truth, everything you thought you lost will pale in comparison to everything you are about to gain. The life you are stepping into demands that you no longer measure yourself by who stayed or who left. That old way of living was built on dependence, and dependence will always weaken you. True strength is born the moment you decide that no external force will ever dictate your value again. You are not defined by someone's inability to see your worth. You are not less because they walked away. Their absence is not a reflection of your lack, but of their limits, and you cannot rise while still chained to the limits of someone who could not carry the depth of who you are. Your power is in choosing yourself without hesitation. For too long, you may have placed everyone else on the pedestal of priority while leaving yourself in the shadows, but you cannot keep pouring into others while running empty inside. That cycle ends now. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it is survival. It is the act of reclaiming your energy so that your life becomes a creation, not a reaction. When you operate from that place of fullness, you become magnetic. You no longer need to chase what belongs to you, because everything aligned with your highest self will begin to move toward you. Do not be afraid of the silence that comes with letting go. Silence is not emptiness, it is space. Space for clarity, space for alignment, space for the life you've always deserved but could not see while you were tangled in noise. This silence is where you reconnect to yourself, where you strengthen the voice inside that was drowned out by fear and attachment. Listen to it now. It is guiding you toward a future that requires no begging, no convincing, no shrinking. Every time you choose peace over chaos, you rewire the pattern that once pulled you into pain. Every time you refuse to settle for less than you deserve, you prove to yourself that you are no longer who you used to be. That consistency builds a new identity, one that no longer bends under the weight of abandonment or rejection. You become rooted, grounded, immovable in the truth of your own value. And from that place, you cannot be broken. Do not mistake your current rebuilding for weakness. This is not weakness, it is transformation. Weakness was when you clung to what hurt you. Weakness was when you silenced your needs for the sake of keeping someone else comfortable. Weakness was pretending you were whole when inside you felt empty. But this process of standing again, of rebuilding from within, of refusing to let the past dictate your future, this is strength in its purest form. And as you step deeper into this strength, you will notice something powerful. The fear of being alone begins to dissolve, because the more you cultivate self-worth, the more you realize that solitude is not a punishment, it is preparation. It is the fertile ground where self-love grows, where clarity sharpens, where resilience becomes second nature. And when you stand firmly in that, you become untouchable. You no longer crumble when someone leaves, because you finally understand that what walks away was never meant to stay. This is your rise. This is your rebirth. You are not defined by the love that left, but by the love you now give to yourself. And as you embrace this truth, you open the door to a life where peace is unshakable, where love is abundant, and where your worth is no longer questioned, because it has become undeniable. There comes a point where you no longer negotiate with your own potential. You stop doubting the voice that urges you to step forward. You stop questioning whether you are ready, whether you are worthy, whether you are enough. Because the truth is, you have always been enough. It was never about proving yourself to anyone else. It has always been about remembering who you are beneath the layers of fear and hesitation. Every barrier you once believed in was built in the mind, and now those walls are crumbling. You are seeing with clarity that nothing was ever truly holding you back, except the belief that you could not rise. That illusion ends the moment you choose to see yourself as unstoppable. The power you are awakening is not loud or desperate. It is steady, unshakable, and undeniable. It is the kind of strength that no rejection can destroy, no betrayal can diminish, no absence can weaken. It is the strength that comes from knowing your worth is not dependent on circumstances, but rooted in your existence itself. The world may have tried to convince you that you needed to be more, do more, or give more to be valuable, but you are beginning to understand the profound truth: you are already whole, you are already powerful, and everything that is meant for you will align when you fully embrace that truth. This is why you can no longer tolerate shrinking yourself to fit into places you've outgrown. You can no longer betray your own spirit just to maintain the illusion of connection. You can no longer waste energy on proving to others what you already know deep inside. The cost of self-abandonment is too great, and you are no longer willing to pay it. From this point forward, your energy belongs to creation, not destruction, to growth, not fear, to self-love, not self-neglect. Every time you honor yourself, you rewrite the script of your life. Every time you stand in your truth, you dismantle the patterns that once kept you trapped. Every time you choose alignment over approval, you set a new standard for how the world will treat you. This is the work that transforms you from within, and it is the kind of transformation that cannot be undone. Once you know your worth, you cannot unknow it. Once you taste the freedom of authenticity, you cannot return to the prison of pretense. Once you decide that you are enough, no one's inability to see it can shake you. And it is in this state of knowing that your spirit becomes magnetic. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop begging and start receiving. You stop fearing loss and start embodying abundance. Life begins to bend in your favor, not because the world has changed, but because you have. You have chosen to embody the truth that you are whole, and the universe always mirrors what you believe about yourself. This is the law of your becoming. The moment you see yourself clearly, the world begins to respond with clarity. So let this be the foundation of your new reality. You are not defined by who stays or who leaves, by what is given or taken, by what has ended or what has begun. You are defined by the strength you now embody, the love you now claim, the power you now stand in without hesitation. Nothing outside of you holds more weight than the truth inside of you, and that truth is unshakable. You are worthy, you are powerful, and you are free. The moment you stop looking outside yourself for permission, a new strength begins to rise within you. You are no longer bound by the opinions that once dictated your choices. You no longer carry the weight of trying to satisfy expectations that were never aligned with your truth. Instead, you are fueled by something deeper, something indestructible, the fire of self-recognition. You are learning that fulfillment does not come from validation, but from the courage to live in alignment with who you truly are. Every breath becomes an affirmation that you are no longer here to play small, no longer here to silence your voice, no longer here to live as a shadow of your potential. The power of this shift cannot be overstated. When you no longer depend on external approval, you cannot be controlled. You cannot be manipulated because your worth is no longer negotiable. You cannot be shaken because your foundation is not built on shifting sand, but on the bedrock of truth. This is liberation in its purest form, the kind of liberation that changes the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you see yourself. And with this liberation comes responsibility, the responsibility to honor yourself every single day, to never again trade authenticity for acceptance, to never again abandon yourself for the comfort of others. Every time you choose yourself, the universe responds with greater clarity. Doors begin to open that you once thought were locked. Opportunities reveal themselves where before there seemed to be none. This is not coincidence, it is alignment. The moment you decide to step fully into your worth, life rises to meet you. What once seemed impossible becomes inevitable, because nothing is more powerful than a mind and spirit aligned with their own truth. But this path also requires discipline. It is not enough to awaken once. You must continue to return to this truth daily, even when fear tries to pull you back, even when doubt whispers its lies, even when old habits try to reattach themselves. The strength you are building is not a fleeting surge of inspiration, but a steady, unyielding fire that grows brighter the more you feed it. Every moment of courage, every act of self-respect, every decision to honor your truth is fuel for that fire, and in time it becomes unstoppable. You are no longer a prisoner of your past. You are no longer defined by mistakes, by rejections, by failures, by the moments where you fell short. Those experiences are not chains. They are proof that you kept moving, proof that you endured, proof that you never surrendered to despair. And because you endured, you now stand on a foundation stronger than ever before. The very moments you once thought would break, you have built the resilience that now carries you. What was meant to silence you has given your voice more depth. What was meant to weaken you has carved out greater strength. This is why you can trust yourself now in ways you once doubted. You can move forward with certainty, not because the path is easy, but because you are powerful enough to walk it. You no longer wait for perfect conditions. You no longer hold back for fear of failing. You no longer bargain with your worth. You step forward because the time for hesitation has ended, and the only direction left is forward. The truth is, nothing is missing within you. Nothing needs to be added for you to be enough. The only thing that must be shed is the illusion that you are not already whole. When that illusion dissolves, what remains is pure power. What remains is clarity. What remains is the undeniable truth that you are capable of shaping a reality beyond what you once believed possible. And now, you are ready to claim it fully. The moment you recognize that wholeness has always been within you, a new reality begins to unfold. You stop chasing fragments of yourself in external places. Stop believing that someone else holds the missing piece. Stop exhausting yourself in pursuit of what was never outside to begin with. You realize that the power you sought was never gone. It was simply buried beneath layers of doubt, fear, and conditioning. And as those layers fall away, what emerges is a clarity so undeniable it feels like breathing for the first time. This clarity is not fragile. It does not depend on circumstance. It is not shaken by rejection, nor diminished by failure. It is a state of being that cannot be destroyed, because it is born from truth. You no longer bend to fit into molds that were never meant for you. You no longer apologize for taking up space, for speaking your truth, for daring to stand in the fullness of who you are. The weight of pretending has been lifted, and in its place is a lightness that allows you to move freely, powerfully, authentically. With this freedom comes the realization that every limitation you once accepted was only a story, and stories can be rewritten. The ceiling you thought you had was never real. It was constructed by fear, reinforced by repetition, and believed by habit. But when you see it for what it is, it dissolves. And in its absence, you begin to rise. You begin to expand into possibilities that once felt unreachable. You begin to embody the truth that you were never meant to live in restriction. You were meant to overflow. This is not a fleeting surge of motivation. It is the birth of a new identity. The old version of you that doubted, that hesitated, that sought approval cannot survive in this light. That self fades as you step deeper into alignment, and what remains is unshakable. You do not need to force this transformation. It is already happening because you are choosing it. Every choice to reject the lie of insufficiency strengthens the reality of your wholeness. Every step into your own power dissolves the illusion of limitation. You are not waiting for a breakthrough. You are the breakthrough. You are not waiting for the right moment. The moment you commit to yourself is the right one. You are not waiting for proof. The fact that you are still here, still standing, still reaching is proof enough. There is no need to search any longer for the person you want to become. That person is already within you, waiting for you to remove what no longer belongs. And the more you step into this truth, the more you realize that power is not about control, but about alignment. It is not about force, but about presence. It is not about dominating circumstances, but about no longer being dominated by them. When you stand rooted in truth, the storms of life may rage, but they do not uproot you. Challenges may arise, but they do not define you. Pain may touch you, but it cannot consume you. You are anchored in something deeper, something untouchable, something eternal. This is the strength that can never be taken. This is the clarity that can never be dimmed. This is the wholeness that was never missing, only waiting for you to claim it. And now, fully aware, fully awake, fully alive, you rise with nothing left to hold you back.